Kate, the deep web, or dark web as most people like to call it. It was a new concept to me, and it was exactly the thing that I thought that I needed. Let me explain. About a year and a half ago, my mom had caught me smoking weed in the backyard. I thought she wasn't home, but I was wrong, I guess. Right after I got caught, she started drug testing me. I tried to swindle the tests at first, but nothing online worked, especially when I tested positive for pot. I got grounded worse and worse every time I got tested positive, so eventually I just gave up. I don't know why, but I just love to get high. I live in a very small town, and the only drug dealers there only sold pot, so I could never find an alternative. That was until my friend told me about the deep web. I've never heard of it before and was completely intrigued. He was telling me about how you could buy all sorts of illegal things there. Things as hard as heroin. Now, it was never my intention to do heroin, but I just needed to find an alternative to weed because I can't smoke it anymore. So as soon as I came home from school that day, I got on my computer and started researching the deep web. I've learned that I needed to download Tor and that you can't just get in. There were secret entryways through, and I had to follow instructions from this YouTube video that I found. Before long, I was in. I was excited. It felt as though I was on a whole new plane of the internet. Now, the video said something about keeping the censorship on. It said that it would help prevent me from stumbling upon a website that I was not supposed to come across. Keywords there: help prevent. At first, I just went in and got out, buying what I'd wanted with bitcoins, trying new things that my dealers never had here, stuff like Molly and acid. I started having amazing experiences with these new substances that I was trying, and the deep web had made it so easy for me. One night, my usual package arrived at my friend's house. I went over and picked it up. It was the same box. As usual, nothing strange, really. As I opened the box, the whole vibe was different. My drugs were still in there, thank God. But there was something extra, something that didn't usually come with it. There was a black card. It said on it, "You have been invited, congratulations." Under the text was what seemed to be a web address, and on the back of the card was a date and time. Under that it said, "Don't be late." My friend was thoroughly freaked out. I, on the other hand, was overwhelmed with excitement. I don't know why. I just was. This event, if you will, was in 2 days. I was very curious as to what exactly I was invited to. All that I could hope was that it was nothing too bad. As I said, I've only been on the sites that sell drugs and guns, nothing beyond that, and honestly, I didn't think that the rest was any worse. Maybe just some illegal gambling sites and stuff with CP, which is actually much worse, by the way, none of which I was interested in. Then it dawned on me, what if the link was to an online gambling session? Then again, isn't gambling actually legal? Oh, that's right, that just in school. It's legal anywhere, just frowned upon, I guess. How stupid am I? Then what is this link? It was killing me. A burning fire of curiosity was driving me for the next 2 days. I couldn't even do anything in class. I could barely eat and stayed up late at night just wondering, what's on the other side of that link? As I was in bed, I just couldn't handle it anymore. Whatever I was invited to was in about 6 hours, but I just could not wait any longer. I got my computer out and got back on the deep web. I then took out the card and copied the link into my computer, as I was about to click enter. But as soon as I was about to, I paused. Something, for whatever reason, had told me not to click it. However, I told myself that it was killing me to know the entire day and that I shouldn't let a little fear stop me from figuring it out. I then counted to 3 and clicked enter. My screen went black. It was black for a really long time. I was actually starting to think that it was a dead link. That was until something finally popped up. It was a white box, and in red letters it had said, "Thank you for joining us. Unfortunately, there are no shows going on at the moment. The next show starts in 19 hours, 48 minutes and 24 seconds. We hope to see you then." Needless to say, that made me disappointed and only left my curiosity burning even more. I did not sleep that night. I just laid in my bed wondering what exactly the show was and why I was invited to it. I can only assume that the seller of the drugs was the one who had invited me. But why? My mind had gone into full detective mode at this point. Eventually, I looked at the clock and realized that it was 4 in the morning. Damn, that's late or early, depending on who you are. I started to get ready for school. I did my usual routine. I showered, got breakfast, and brushed my teeth. As I got done, I went straight to my bus stop. As I was about to get on, though, I heard a vibration go off in my pocket. It was my phone. I took it out and realized that I had gotten a text from an unknown number. It literally said "unknown number." When I read the text, my stomach sank. It said, "I'll see you tonight, James. It's going to be a lot of fun." I just stood there for a second. More than that, actually. I stood still for so long that the driver had to say something. "Hey, get on before I leave you!" I then scurried on the bus, still a shocked look on my face. How did he know my name? Who was he? And how did he know about tonight? How did he get my phone number? As soon as I got off the bus, I decided not to even go to school. I had walked straight back home. It was only a 3-mile walk after all. I thought to myself that maybe the walk would calm my nerves just a little bit. Surprise, surprise, it didn't. As soon as I had gotten home, I went straight to my room. My mum wasn't home all day, so I didn't have to worry about her. I just worried about the task at hand. It was now 12 hours until the show, and my excitement had turned into pure fear. I had so many questions and was wondering how the hell this person could have gotten my number, and on top of that, knew my name. Another thing is that the text seemed so friendly it unsettled me. I just sat in my room until 7:30 arrived. My mum still wasn't home, which was odd, but I dismissed it because it meant that I didn't have to worry about her walking in my room during the show. My phone vibrates once again, and there was another message from an unknown number. "Early access for the show starts now," followed by, "Come, there is a special spot just for you." I did not know what he meant by that. However, I summoned some courage. I flipped open my laptop and typed the link into Tor once again. Once I clicked enter, I noticed that the website took longer to load this time. When it did, I was met with a chat box on the right side of the screen and black everywhere else. The chat box was booming with conversations. Mostly people greet each other saying "welcome back" or "it's good to meet you again." Someone noticed that I was there and said, "Who's this guy?" Someone else responded with, "I think he's the special guest." Wait, what? Is that what the text meant? Is there a special spot for me? This was all getting too weird. In a sudden instant, the blackness on the screen turned red. Something popped up. It was a man wearing some kind of weird pig mask. All of a sudden, people were cheering in the chat. Then the man in the pig mask said, "Welcome back to the Red Show, everyone. It's good to see some familiar names again." I felt very uneasy. I wanted to get off the site, despite how excited I was yesterday. I dragged my mouse and tried to click out. Then my spine, chills, and stomach once again felt like 1,000 butterflies. It didn't let me click out. The man in the pig mask then laughed. All of a sudden, another thing popped up on screen. It was what seemed to be a recording of someone in a room. Wait for a second. That looked like... My jaw dropped. I was looking at myself on the stream. It was me. It was me on the screen, my room, and everything. And it seemed to be a live recording too, because I was watching myself freak the fuck out. "What the fuck?" I shouted. The man in the mask had then said, "Welcome to the Red Show. James, you are today's special guest. Here are the rules of the show. Do not call the cops under any circumstances, and you have to watch this stream all the way through. If you follow these simple rules, we will not hurt you." "When did you install this camera in my room, you sick fuck?" I replied, with trembling, fearful anger. Then the man in the mask appeared off of the screen and switched to what seemed to be yet another live feed to another room. Not a normal room, but it seemed to be fully made from concrete. The sight of it just disgusted me. A door had then opened. Someone was walking someone else in the room with a wheelchair. I should say right now that the quality of the camera was very good, almost as if it was HD. The person in the wheelchair had a bag over their head. From the looks of it, the person seemed like a woman, and the other who was pushing the wheelchair was a very big and bulky man. I then realized something. The woman was wearing a uniform of some kind. It looked like my mother's work uniform. I looked at the screen in horror. My face went pale, and the butterflies in my stomach had multiplied by 1,000,000. What the fuck? I couldn't speak. I was frozen. The man then pulled off the bag, thus revealing what I had just realized. It was most definitely my mom. Her face, bloody, parts of her blonde hair ripped out, just sitting there unconscious. I turned back and I vomited on the floor. I couldn't stop. My fluids were just rushing out, screaming in agony and pain. Once I was done, I looked back at the screen. People in the chat suddenly started telling the man what to do. One of them had told him to start off by cutting a part of her face and to lick it. The man nodded and was about to proceed until I fucking shouted, "Don't you dare touch my mother. What the fuck is this sick, twisted game?" The man ignored me and proceeded to cut my mother's face and licked the wound. I watched in disgust, frozen. I just couldn't move anymore, knowing that there was nothing that I could do. Another person in the chat then said to rip her shirt off, and the man did just that. And as an extra token, he ripped her bra off as well. My mum was just sitting there with now exposed breasts. I thought to myself, what the fuck? Someone else then said to wake her up. The man nodded once again and grabbed something out of his pocket. He put it by her nose and snapped it. She then abruptly woke up screaming. It was one of the most ear-piercing and heartbreaking noises that I have ever heard. The next thing that happened killed me inside. I don't want to go into detail anymore, but the people in the chat were giving the man ways of torturing her, ways to make her scream in agony. I realized that I was crying. My entire face was covered in tears. I couldn't watch this. I just wanted to leave. They were torturing the women who had raised me, nurtured me, and put a roof under my head even when my dad left. I loved her, and she was screaming right in front of me, and there was nothing all that I could do but watch. They then eventually made him, rape her. I can't say any more that I'm getting upset. I'm sorry, but I can't go into any more detail. By the end, the man ended her. Yes, he killed her. My whole world had just come crashing down. I just sat in my chair crying, watching the stream end. Everyone in the chat said that it was one hell of a show. I then got a text. "Tell anyone about this, and we can make your life a whole hell of a lot worse." I didn't care. I ran the fuck out of my house. I ran 5 constant miles to my best friend's house. By the time I got there, I knocked on and I was banging on the door, screaming bloody murder for someone to open it. My friend angrily opened the door, shouting, "Dude, it's 10 at night. What the fuck do you want?" I dragged him inside and explained everything to him. He was almost as shocked as I was. I then got a text on my phone. Big mistake. Long story short, I am now on the run from them. My friend and his family had died when two people broke into their house, and now I am constantly watching over my shoulder. I'm only writing this as a warning before I die to never go on the deep web. Sinister shit lies there. If I had never gone on there, my life would be completely different now.
And that's a wrap for today's chilling tale here on Haunting Stories. We hope you enjoyed immersing yourself in the world of the supernatural as much as we did bringing it to you. If you enjoyed this story, please consider subscribing to our channel and giving this video a thumbs up. Your support helps us bring you more scary content. Until next time, remember to keep your lights on and your doors locked. And as always, stay spooky. Goodbye.